Hey ladies, and I say hey ladies because this live stream is specifically for women only, but I'm sure men will probably watch it anyways because they're sneaky like that. But this is for women, and I want to teach you how to master your feminine energy so that you can feel less crazy and more in control of your emotions and in control of your life. Because let's face it, when we're feeling crazy all the time, or we're feeling at the mercy of our emotions, so we're feeling like our emotions actually have control over us, we don't feel safe in life, right? And that takes away from us living our purpose and being, the highest version of ourselves. So this is shit we have to freaking deal with as women. And actually, this was inspired by, I did a post about, what I like about masculine energy, how I like that men, when they're operating from healthy masculine energy, are so strong and centered in their opinion. And I was talking about how I like men that just say what they want and do what they want and, do who they want, right? And then I realized, well, to properly attract a man who is the corresponding healthy masculine energy, we as women have to step it up, and we have to be the healthy version of feminine energy. So I want to talk a little bit about how to do that, right? We can't go around feeling crazy and feeling not in touch with our feminine, or hating, our feminine bodies or our female bodies, and expect to attract a masculine counterpart who is going to be a healthy version of the masculine. Does that make sense? So that's what inspired me to do this talk right now, you guys. Hey, Amanda, thank you for the prayer hands. And say hi to me, you guys, when you're on here. And give me some hearts on the replay if you're here on the replay, or if you're here live, give me some hearts. Yo, what's up, guys? So honoring the feminine energy. First off, I want to say that feminine energy is so fluid and up and down, and right, think of the cycles of nature. Hey, Amanda. Think of the cycles of nature and think of your monthly cycle, okay? Feminine energy is very cyclical. Hey, Celie. And it's not supposed to be the same all the time, okay? So this is the common mistake of women, and women working and women doing anything. Hey, Tracy, is just this concept that we have to be, on all the time, or we have to be in a good mood all the time, or we have to be energetic all the time. Because there's actually different levels of energy that we go throughout our monthly cycle, which I'll talk about. And actually, we're not the same all the time, not at all. Actually, we are different all the time, and that's totally normal. And so when we understand that no part of this process is bad and all of it is actually perfect, we can come to peace with ourselves. So I want to give you some actual practical tips, you guys, that you can use to feel better in your feminine body, and things that I've used. Because let me tell you, when I first realized I was a woman, right? When I first got my period, it was just so traumatic. I remember I was just fuck this. It was just this horrible experience, right? And I actually got it quite a bit later than my friends. I was in grade 8 or so. But I just hated it. I hated every part of it. And so did all the women around me. It was just such a disgusting thing to be a woman, right? And whenever I see women that are still kind of operating in this patterning, or even worse, men that are in this kind of patterning, I just get so sad, because that is not at all how I experience it now. I love getting my period, and I love every part of my monthly cycle, and even the less fun parts. And there's actually value to every part of it as well. And you can learn to love it and love your vagina or pussy, however you want to say it. There was this really good book that I read a few years ago, you guys. I don't know if you guys have read it, but it needs to be talked about now. It's this book, Pussy, A Reclamation. I think that's how you say that word, A Reclamation. It's by Regina Thomas Hauer. Highly recommend this book, but I'm going to summarize it for you. Well, I'm going to summarize the part that really changed my life. So the first thing that I learned from that book is that your pussy or your vagina has like wisdom of its own, right? And she teaches you to actually like quiet down and just ask it things, like listen to it, and what is the wisdom that it is saying to you. Thank you, Winnie. I have to wear my hair because of my hair extensions in braids when I go to bed, so they're kind of like shitty braids because I'm not the best at doing them, but I still think I look kind of cute, like, I don't know, Pippi Longstocking or whatever. But yeah, that's my hair. And I thought, hey, you guys haven't seen me live when my hair is all like in braids, like when I go to bed. So it'd be fun to come on here. And also it's the perfect time, you guys. I'm on my period right now, so it's the perfect time for me to be talking about feminine energy. And also the moon is in Scorpio, which is a very feminine sign. You know, Scorpio is a water sign. All the water signs and earth signs are traditionally feminine signs. So it's just the perfect time to be talking about this. So I want to give you this practice that's actually from this book, this Pussy book, which I highly recommend reading. Like for every woman, it should be required reading, you guys. One of the exercises that she teaches you to do, and I actually don't do this all the time, I should do it more, but I did do it for a while, and oh my God, you guys, once I started doing this, the reaction and the sexual attraction that comes from men is like fucking next level out of this world. Yeah, so you're on yours too, Dua? Right on. Is that how I say your name? Dua? Tell me how to say your name. So, okay, this is what she teaches you to do in that book. And I don't know why I'm talking about this first. There's so much more I want to say about feminine energy, but for some reason this is coming out to talk about first. So, stick around, there's going to be more. This is what she teaches in that book, is that every morning you should actually get a small mirror and open up your legs and say to your vagina, "Good morning, beautiful." Okay? And do this every single morning, because so often us women were taught that like our vagina is dirty or not pretty or, you know, something to be ashamed of, right? Like how often do you wake up in the morning and go, "Good morning, beautiful," and open your legs and look at it, right? And when you start to do this, it's like you start to feel this love from within. And also, from my experience, I started to do this about 2 years ago, or no, actually almost 3 years ago now when I got that book. Like the response I get from men now is very different. Like it's like almost every man is just like hot for me, or like they want to fuck me basically, but like in a loving way. Like I don't mean it in a negative way. And I just feel like it's because I'm respecting and honoring that, you know, pussy power, that feminine power. And that might sound like totally crazy, but honestly, you guys, I feel like as part of the reason too why I've manifested like so much of my dream life as well is because like I've honored the aspect of my feminine self, if that makes sense. Yes, it is life-changing. Yeah, so try that, you guys. Try that every morning. That is like a life-changing tip for women, is to honor that part. And I mean, it doesn't have to be in the morning, just any time, like whenever you have a chance. And men are not allowed to be watching this, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. They're probably, see, because I literally put in the title, I was like women only. I did that because I knew the men would want to watch it more if I did that, because I feel like they could be educated by this too, but I am specifically talking to women. So anyways, but men love it when I talk about female-related stuff. Like, men love us so much, you guys. Like, men are so obsessed with us. They want to worship us. They want to adore us. They want to give us everything that we want from them. They want to so bad. But if we are not honoring our own feminine energy, it's hard to manifest men who will honor it, right? Because you can't get in your outer world what you're not creating from within. And you'll be surprised when you start doing this. You can actually have men who weren't honoring you. Like, let's say like you're maybe like you've been having sex with a man that like you don't find it pleasing, right? Like you're having sex and you don't think it's good. And then you start doing this, you start saying "I love you" to your vagina every day, and you start, you know, loving your feminine energy more with the other practices that I'm going to teach you as well. You can actually have that same man like just change to please you without even saying anything. That's the kind of miracle stuff that can happen when you start honoring your feminine energy and being in your feminine energy. you start to attract the right, like, masculine complementary energy as well, if that makes sense. And it can even be from the same men who aren't currently pleasing you. They can actually change and start to please you as you do this. It's just that no women or not a lot of women are actually doing this kind of stuff, so they don't really realize it, right? So anyways, that's a really good thing to do. And also, you know, in lines with that book as well, is just checking in throughout the day with your pussy, with your vagina, and just asking her, like, what do you want to be doing right now? Like, or also asking with the men that are in your life, like, do you want to be having sex with this man, or do you not want to be having sex with this man? My period was, like, really late this month, and I started to wonder. I was like, what's going on? Well, not really late, but it was like 7 days late or 6 days late, and usually it's like either early or right on time. And so I asked, I was like, what are you doing? Like, what do you want from me? Like, what's going on, like, to my vagina? And like, I heard really loud and clear, just like, stop having sex with men who aren't husband, like, vibes. And I'm like, oh, and not that there's been that many men, but, like, I knew instantly that, like, that was just no longer aligned for me. Not that there was anything wrong with it before. Like, I mean, that everything is personal to you, right? But that was what I heard loud and clear, was to just stop doing that, at least for, like, a while, or until further notice, right? And also, though, with feminine energy, it's so changeable, right? Like, you need to be continually checking in with yourself, checking in with your pussy, but not just that, like, checking in with your sacral chakra and your heart chakra, and, like, just how are you really feeling, right? Like, this is actually the first step of my Brittany Taylor method of healing, my 5-step healing process, is asking, what am I actually feeling? Like, what am I actually feeling? Not what am I pretending to feel so that I can look good for other people. Like, what am I actually feeling here right now? And actually, like, close your eyes and ask yourself that, like, what is this? And when you're feeling some kind of sadness or some type of crazy emotion coming on, asking yourself, like what actually is this, right? And getting clear on that, and then asking yourself, like, where is this coming from? And you'll get an intuitive impulse, like, you'll get a memory of some childhood event, or you'll get, like, an image of some belief that you need to clear. And really, in your feminine power, in your feminine energy, you always know what to do to heal yourself. You do. And so any disharmony that you're experiencing in your life or in your relationships or in your physical body, if you tune in and go within and just ask yourself, what am I actually feeling? What do I actually need to be doing right now? You will get the answer. And that is the power of being a woman. We are all psychic. We are all magical. We are all healers. But we've just shut off this power, right? Or we're using this power for negative, like, things. We're using this power to be crazy. We're using this power to negatively manifest our realities, right? So does that make sense, you guys? Is that hitting home? Does that relate? So much value can actually just come from checking in, and I'm talking multiple times a day. I'm not talking just once. I'm talking checking in with yourself and just being like, what am I actually feeling? Like, what's going on within me, right? Before you lash out on other people, before you lash out on your shitty boyfriend, before you lash out at your boss or quit your job or something, check in, like, what is actually going on? And quite often it's not even related. It's not related even at all to the situation. It's something within. It's probably from childhood. It could be from past lives. It could be some generational family tie thing that you're healing for all of them. Like, we female beings are so complex, and it could be so many things, right? It's not just like a simple prescription fix, right? And that's another thing. Quit numbing the natural feminine energy with things, right? And I'm sure you'll know what I mean by that. Listen to it, right? Allow it to come out. Allow yourself to want what you really want, right? And allow yourself to feel what it is that you really want. And do not shame yourself for any part of this energy. So some part of the feminine energy is also, like that feeling of just kind of craziness and spur of the moment and, like, you know, super creativity. Like, trust your impulses too. As a woman, when you're sitting on the couch or something and you get the impulse, go pick up that book, or go text that guy, or go to the restaurant, go to the bar, or put on your cute dress and take a selfie, or go masturbate, follow that impulse, okay? This is how we work as females. We get these little, and sometimes it's going to totally break your routine. Maybe you had plans to go meet with Betty, and now you're not going to meet with Betty because your vagina just told you need to go do something else, or your soul just told you need to go do something else. Trust those intuitive impulses. Winnie says, haha, super hitting home from the crazy bitch mode, although much less now. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the crazy bitch mode. That's an aspect of the feminine that should be honored more as well. Because here's the thing. The reason why we feel crazy is just because we're so emotional. We're just so in tune. And sometimes, we're not even feeling our own emotions. Sometimes, and this is something I want to talk about right here and right now too. So sometimes we actually take on the men that we're around, or the men that we're sleeping with, or the men that we're dating or whatever. We take on their emotions, because men aren't always so quick to be able to feel things, right? They take more time. And we easily can feel things. They just pop up, right? So sometimes the things that you're feeling are not even yours. Oh, thank you, Christina. Love yours too. So this is something that I actually read. This is not mine. This is from a book, another book that I've been reading for 7 years, you guys. It's a psychic book. Psychic psychology is what it's called. But there's a practice in there, and I actually have posted on this practice before. It's called female grounding, okay? Very helpful practice. You can find it on my YouTube. You can just go on YouTube and search Brittany Taylor female grounding. And there should be a couple of videos on it. And this is a powerful practice where you ground your female energy. And it specifically works on grounding it from the ovaries, grounding it from the spine, grounding it from the entire sacral center, and the huge amount of creativity that we have right in our stomachs here. It's a really powerful practice. If you do this regularly, you'll feel way more calm and centered around other people, and way more in control of your life and your emotions. But there's another aspect of this too, where sometimes we can get what's called male grief in our energy field. So this book stated, and this makes a lot of sense to me intuitively, that men sometimes don't know how to heal and process their own grief. So we end up taking on all this male grief, and the female body doesn't know how to process this energy because it's foreign to us. It's a male energy. And so if you ever find yourself just feeling totally sad for no reason, and when you do your healing process, it doesn't work, okay? So this is different than healing your own pain and stuff with my Brittany Taylor method of healing, or with whatever method of healing that you use, or whatever you're doing. If you're trying to heal yourself, you're trying to work through an emotion, and you have this feeling of grief or sadness, and it's just not going away, it's just nothing is working, check to see that this is your energy even, because it might not even be your energy. It could be some male grief that you've picked up from the male species. And as you ground this energy out of you through the grounding process, you'll feel clear of it totally, and you realize wait, that wasn't even mine. That wasn't even mine. And then you feel way better. So that can happen too. That's something I learned from that book. And yeah, it's something I even noticed today. I was feeling something in my heart, and I'm what is this? I'm I don't really have sadness anymore. I have minimal sadness, right? And I'm I feel this heavy energy in my heart, and I am on my period, so I'm really emotional right now. And then I'm I haven't done that female grounding process for a long time, so I did it, and I'm now the grief is gone. I'm that must have been male grief. Of course I picked something up like that, right? And it's not something to be afraid of. I'm not one of those people that's gonna be put on your shield and be afraid of other people's energies. I'm not like that at all. I don't give a fuck. You can be so strong in your joy that none of that shit fucking affects you. You can. But I'm just saying, sometimes we're not, right? Sometimes we're on our period. Sometimes we're not so strong in joy, and sometimes shit still does affect us. So when it does, we want to know how to ground that shit out of our body, right? So we can be back in our feminine power. If that makes sense, right? Can you guys relate? Have you ever noticed that where you just feel this feeling of grief and sadness, And then you do your healing process and it's still freaking there. It's not yours. It's probably male grief from some male who is in your orbit. Could be your boyfriend. Could be your boyfriend, husband, dad, whatever, right? Beverly says, my partner's mother just died 2 weeks ago. Oh, sorry to hear that. He is really taking his anger out on me. Aw, sorry to hear that. So what I would do, Beverly, is just hug and love any inner child part of yourself that is feeling hurt by this, and just like keep bringing this love around you and bringing the love around him and just sending love to him like at a soul level, and not trying to like even heal him or make it like focus on making yourself feel totally in love first and then deal with him. Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. Jennifer says, coworker, the angry coworker. Is that who you feel you've picked up some energy from? So are you guys telling me that these are the males that you feel you've picked up energy from? See, you already know immediately. This is how psychic women are, right? It's like, I don't even think I asked that, like who it was coming from, and you guys just told me, if that's what you're telling me. So yeah, you are naturally so going to know what it is, but sometimes it's like we just don't know what to do with it. So these practices that I'm giving you will help you know what to do when it comes up. And even just literally asking yourself, what am I feeling? Okay? Like actually taking a time out from busy work and doing all this bullshit and just asking yourself, what am I feeling? Like, what do you need right now? Even just that one thing, like that's the first step of my healing process. Even just doing that first step is gonna like heal your fucking life, because most women, we're actually not operating from our feminine enough at all. We're operating in our masculine, meaning it's like go, go, go all the time, and we're focused on productivity and like doing the same shit every day, which is not good for feminine energy. Well, at least my particular brand of feminine energy, that shit don't fly. Like, you need to honor the flow and the cycle, and like you even have, I feel like we have cycles throughout the day. Like we're gonna have high energy periods, and then we're gonna have periods where we're gonna need to take a nap and just fuck it all, and then we have periods where we're high again, and you want to jump on those high periods when you're having them, like when not like high periods, but like the points where you're feeling the high energy, and use that energy, but not try to force yourself to have that high energy during the times that you don't. Okay? So now let's talk about the monthly cycle. Let's talk about the monthly cycle. I hear you, Jennifer. I would just focus on bringing more love into yourself, like I said, and downloading soul love into you, and imagine sending soul love to him as well. So you can imagine sending soul love. Imagine your soul connecting with you from above, and then imagine sending soul love out to this coworker. And really allow yourself to feel love when you're doing it. If you're not really feeling anything, it's not really going to work. But allow yourself to feel love and send it to him, but with no attachment to things changing, right? We don't want to be doing it for a certain reason. But then things will change. That's the fun part. Yeah, so structure, Tracy says, what about structure? So yeah, structure is a masculine aspect. And we all, as men and women, we all need both, right? We all need both. But I'm just saying to not allow the structure of your life, because obviously you're going to have to like do things and wake up at a certain time, or, well, sometimes I don't really have to wake up at a certain time anymore. I've kind of bypassed that now. But like, sometimes there's going to be things that you have to do. You need a balance of both, right? But I'm just saying to not allow the structured part to interfere with the feminine genius part, okay? Because sometimes you might like have something going on, like maybe you're supposed to meet with a friend or something. Like actually I did this tonight. So today I woke up, like I'm day 2 of my period. It's really heavy. It's like really bloody. TMI, but like, hello, we're all women here, hopefully. And I had so many things planned already. I was meeting my dad out for lunch in Abbotsford, which is like about a 30-minute drive from here. And then I had to drive about a 30-minute back and go to my golf lesson and then come back home. Actually, that doesn't sound like very much, but like to me, being on my period, that was like, I was like doing so many things. Oh yeah, and then tomorrow I'm driving down to Bellevue, Washington, which is about a 3-hour drive, and then the next day I have to drive back is a 3-hour drive, and I'm going to see Abraham Hicks, which is going to be super fun. But I know, because I know this stuff, I know, here's a tip right here. Do not overload yourself when you're on your period. It's a time of quiet reflection, and like you shouldn't be doing too many things when you're on it, although you'll start to feel energy when you have it because estrogen starts to rise and you'll start to get excited. But the first couple days you should just chill out a bit because you're losing a lot of blood, right? And that's a lot of iron, and like that's your energy. So yeah, yay, it is exciting. But anyway, so I knew that this was going on, and then I actually had plans to meet with a girlfriend for dinner tonight. And like it's a bit of a drive, well, not too far, but like kind of a drive. And I just thought about it in the morning, and I was just like, yo, like my vagina straight up does not want to do that. Like it's just too many things. Not because I don't want to go. Like if it was just that, it'd be fine. But because I was already doing the golfing, and then I was already out there and over here, and now I got to do this other drive, I was just like, yo, like that's just too many things. So I told my friend, I'm like, yo, like I'm just really like on my period. I don't want to meet for dinner tonight. And she totally understood, and it was fine. But that was me honoring my feminine wisdom. Like my body knew, like that's just too many things, Brittany. Like you gotta like just chill out. And maybe my soul knew that I was gonna actually be popping on this live stream, and maybe that was what needed to happen tonight, right? So it's just like about trusting your body, like when you can, to actually postpone things or put things off and wait until the right time to do things, right? Like feminine energy is about timing. And like, while I do believe you can push through things and do the things that you need to do every day, like I don't always feel like doing a live stream or whatever, but a part of me knows that, you know, I'll feel better after, right? So it's about finding that balance between like, can I actually just rest right now? Like, what is my soul, what is my body actually telling me that I need to do right now? And it's complicated. It's not a straight answer. Like, did you hear how long it took me to fucking answer that? Like, there's so many potential possibilities, right? And that's just what feminine energy is like. It's not cut and dry. It's not just like, here's the 5-step process to fucking be a woman. It's not like that, right? You have to tune into your intuition, which is our feminine power as women, is that intuition and that knowing, that wisdom of our bodies, like being able to actually feel what's going on in the body and feel what we need, right? So there's so many wonderful things about being a woman, right? And there's so much pleasure, and we're not meant to just be doing things all the time. There needs to be adequate time of just playing and dreaming and dancing and writing and just being the joy of living. Like the joy of living isn't about doing anything. It's about doing whatever the fuck my feminine soul desires to do at the time and doing it. And sometimes you're going to break some rules, or sometimes you're going to not follow the routine. Sometimes it's going to be a little crazy over here. Sometimes you're going to get on a live and say some funny shit. Like, it's about letting all of that out. And as you let that out, you feel the joy bubbling up from within, and it feels really, really good. Yeah, I love that, Beverly. So you made several lists, bounced around, and got many of the things accomplished on the list and a couple more without pushing. Yeah, I love that bounced around. That's kind of like my vibe. When I'm always home all the time, whenever I'm home, and I'm like just bouncing and doing this thing and doing that thing, and then I have some coffee, and then I eat half my breakfast. I open one book, I put the book back, I put another book, I go live, I write out an offer. Like, it's so it's so like flowy and fun and feminine. But guess what? When I follow that, at the end of the day, I feel so fulfilled, rather than if I followed the plan and the set out list. Like, that's just not how I work, right? And that's not how most women work, and that's how most women are taught that we should work, and then we end up feeling a whole lot of shame and guilt around ourselves when we shouldn't. We're just being who we naturally are, right? So yeah, actually I think I'll save talking about the cycle for another time, you guys. But I really want you to get the app. It's called Hormone Horoscope. and it's free. You can get the pro version too, but I don't feel like they're much different. Check it. If you're on like a hormonal birth control though, I don't think it'll work. I think you need to be like not on birth control, because birth control kind of just makes your cycle like the same day all the time or whatever. But yeah, get that app. It's called Hormone Horoscope. It actually gives you like a horoscope for your mood, for your energy levels, for like your sex drive on each day of your cycle. And you can put in like what day of your cycle that you're on and like how long your cycle is as well. And if you don't know, the average I think is 29 days. But anyways, this app is so life-changing, you guys. You can actually learn how to go with the flow of your feminine energy and recognize the gifts and the challenges of every part of your cycle. And like from knowing this, I just feel like I love being a woman. I think it's fucking awesome and great. And like, we're so lucky to be in these female bodies and have the opportunity to have this cycle. And like the way that our creativity works in different periods of the cycle is super exciting. So check that out. Get that app, you guys. And also, if you're wanting to work at a deeper level with me on this, you want to gain more clarity around your feminine energy, heal sadness, pain in your heart, heal heartbreak, heal jealousy, heal that crazy bitch feeling by using these principles and more other things that I can teach you, message me about the Golden Goddess Activation one-on-one coaching program that I'm offering right now. We're starting in 2 days, the same day that I go to Abraham Hicks, actually, so it's very divine. So message me about the Golden Goddess Activation if you're wanting to work with me one-on-one. This is my one-on-one program at the highest level. You get unlimited access to me. I'll send you the full overview if you send me a message. Thank you, Beverly. Yeah, I do feel that my spirit is quite shiny. Perhaps so shiny it could blind everyone in a room. Blind them with joy, the joy of their own soul, so they can wake up and know their own soul again. Boom. Right? So yeah, I hope this was helpful. If you're watching on the replay, let me know what you thought of this. Do the things that I told you. And that's another reason why you should work with me one-on-one, is because you just watched this video, but you probably aren't going to actually do this shit. I know, for the love of God, I do not apply most of what I learned unless I have a coach kicking my ass, right? So I'm here to very lovingly kick your ass and remind you to do these things so that you can get to this place where you are in control of your emotions, in control of your life, in this solid state of knowing of your worth and knowing of your ability to manifest your dream life and having it manifesting before your very eyes. So message me if you want in on this. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say tonight, you guys. My feminine energy is saying it is time to have a long, beautiful sleep, and then a nice, peaceful drive tomorrow off to the hotel, and then another beautiful sleep, and then Abraham Hicks. So we'll talk soon, you guys. Message me about the Golden Goddess if you're feeling called. And remember, you came for the joy of living. Bye, guys.